Let's start off in third place. They were known on the series as the Eccentrics. Please give it up for Sam Hatmaker and Jessica Ragzy Ewud.
Hello.
Sam and Jessica, thank you so much for being here virtually. We're so happy to have you here, and we appreciate it.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is so cool. We've got fans, again, watching from around the world. Fans, shout out where you're watching from, and I'll try to shout out as many states, countries that we've got out there tuning in. But we are so excited to bring all of these amazing folks out. So let's keep it going, and then we'll check in where everyone on this call is tuning in from. Let's do it. Runners up. All three of these groups were amazing. You could see it in the judges' eyes during that finale episode that it was such a tough choice, and it really came down to the nitty-gritty. But runners up, the Bearded Builders. Let's hear it for Mark Cruickshank and Boone Langston.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Mark, your beard looks fantastic.
Thank you. Yours
really good.
too.
Oh, see, that's the way you want the Bearded Builders to enter, just by immediately complimenting each other's beards. Sam and I showed up. Sam and I showed up here too.
I feel like everyone has one but me. I'm going to do this.
You look lovely as well. Mark, you're branded too, I see there. That's a dope shirt. That's pretty sweet. Bearded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And last but not least, let's bring out, we know Tyler is ready. Amy, we have to say the biggest congratulations to Tyler and Amy. They announced on the show that they were expecting, what an awesome moment in TV history. And then also on that episode when they announced that, they had their child just this July. So amidst all of this, so we wish them our best and wish them our congratulations. And we know Tyler's there. We hope we see Amy and maybe a little glimpse of Timmy at some point for as well. Let's bring out the Newlywed team. Let's hear it for Tyler and Amy Clites. Yay, everybody! Yay.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
So
Mini Lego Master.
It's a mini fig, everybody. It's our yay. And what is Tyler and Amy, thank you so much for being here. We weren't sure exactly if Amy would be making an appearance. We're so excited that you brought to give us the full name. Tell us, introduce your child to the virtual world.
This is Timothy Lael Clites.
Oh, beautiful.
1 month old this weekend.
That is
my gosh.
He was smiling. I was giving him some fist bumps the other day, and he was giving me his first smiles. So really excited.
That is so amazing. I'm so sorry, Mark, Boone, Samuel, and Jessica, but really it's going to be about the baby this whole panel. So I hope everybody's okay with that. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Again, Tyler and Amy, congratulations. So amazing. So awesome. Such a cool moment that we shared with you all, like live, in the set. I know you filmed, months ago, but, we were seeing it in early, I guess, March and April, just as this whole quarantine thing began. And then when we saw your announcement, anyone who's been following all of you, that's a huge fan of the show, myself included, following all you guys, when we saw that announcement a month ago, we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't realize it was that soon, but yeah, it all came about. So I want to get, how's everyone doing? I want to just go around the room and check in with everyone. Obviously, Tyler and Amy, you've got this bundle of beautiful joy. And so your quarantine can't have been anything better than what it is. But I just want to hear where everyone's kind of calling in from and just checking in to see how everyone's been doing during these times. Let's start with Tyler and Amy. And obviously we've got the baby, but how have you been doing otherwise during this?
Yeah, so we've been doing fantastic. It's been almost a blessing to have this quarantine. Amy and I got to spend a lot of time together just, through the pregnancy. And then now we get to have this little awesome dude here at home with us, and we're loving it.
I'm enjoying my maternity leave with little Timothy, and it was fantastic. Sleeping at night, eating well. So we're just so thankful.
Yeah, awesome. And where are you? We've got fans always watching these streams from around the world, around the country, different time zones. Where are you tuning in from right now?
So we are tuning in from Bradenton, Florida.
Oh, all right. Awesome. So the East Coast. We got a bunch of East Coasters in the house right now. I like it. And I know we've got our Portlanders as well. So we'll get to them in a sec for sure. Let's get to them right now. Mark and Boone, both still in Portland, right? Oregon area. Or Oregon, yeah. or Oregon, as some of us heathens say.
Oregon.
Yeah, I'm out on the east side of the Portland metro area. in a little town called Troutdale.
Very nice, very nice. And how are yeah, we saw a bunch of the finale episode when everyone's families come out. Such a beautiful moment where you all got to see your families. How are you doing, Boone? How are you and your family doing?
We're doing pretty good. You know, I think kind of like Tyler said, the quarantine has sort of been a blessing for us. We've just been spending so much time together, and of course, you know, I was away. Most of us were away from our families for about 2 months when we were taping the show, and then just a few months later, it's like we get this concentrated time. And Danny, my wife, and I have been able to throw a lot of our creative energy into kind of building a business together for the first time. It's been really incredible, and the girls are doing great. I've 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And we thought for sure that they were going to, tear each other apart at some point in this quarantine, but they've been playing together really well most days. So we're doing good.
I mean, shout out to all the parents out there for all the work that you've been doing to, keep your kids entertained and taught, during this tough time with no school or, no place for them to go. So we wish your family the best for sure, Boone. And it's awesome to hear that they're doing well. Mark, how about your neck of the woods over on the west side there, West Coast?
Yeah, I'm in Oregon City, Oregon. And I've been just working, we're busy. I do furnace and AC installs. So we're just going nuts installing ACs right now, and everyone wants to be cool, so I maxed up. That's all I've been doing. So
that's so awesome. I mean, it's so interesting to hear, despite all the restrictions, that have been put upon us, there's also so much connectivity and just bonding that's been going on within. I've heard the same story with families, just having more time together. Obviously there are businesses that are struggling, but then there's also businesses that are thriving. And so, there is a lot of positivity and a lot of hope, even amidst kind of this craziness,
Yeah. I just want to say, I've actually been doing a job, and I have my mask on and usually a hat and stuff. Yeah. And there's kids watching on Hulu or something, like Lego Masters. And they have no idea that I'm in their house. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is awesome.
So cool.
So surreal. That's so surreal.
That's funny.
Well, the series has become, and I want to get to Sam and Jessica next, obviously, but the series really was hit. I mean, not to say, it hit at the right time. We were all sitting around. There wasn't really much new content out there besides what had, some of the TV shows that had already been filmed. But it was a quarantine show. I mean, people watched it as families together and binged it and we're tuning in each and every week and are continuing to watch it, Mark. And that's what's so incredible about it, is it really was that thing that a lot of folks bonded over during this time when we once Tiger King was over, once Tiger King was done, we were right to Lego Masters, Sam, how oh yeah. Sam, tell us where you're zooming in from and how you've been doing during these times.
Los Angeles, California.
Got it.
And I have been very, very productive during these times. I'm amazed by Boone and his family and how they've grown. Just amazed by it. But I'm using the time to just be productive. To I don't know. I actually like most artists like to be by themselves most of the time because that's when they produce things. So I enjoy this time.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of, I want to reference your beautiful Wonder Woman in the back there. Is that Lego or is it just oh, wow.
That's Lego.
That is so cool.
Jessica looks like that. Don't they look the same? I always thought that. She's a Wonder Woman, hair.
That's sweet.
You do have a Wonder Woman vibe, Jessica, for sure. Jessica, tell us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I see it, the long flowing brunette.
I've always thought that.
Oh, thank you. I take that as a big compliment. Every time somebody says I look like Gal Gadot, I'm like, you need to get your eyes checked, but thank you. I hope I look like that.
Yeah, tell us how you've been doing, Jessica.
Really good. Thank you. That's a very nice compliment. Really good. You know, it's like good and bad. We got hit by a huge hurricane here in the Northeast. So I'm at a friend's house as we speak, so I could have power and internet for this. Very grateful for just having a lot of good people in my life who care about me and want me to have internet so I can do all these things. But other than that, I think it's very interesting the way, you know, for me, because I'm a full-time professional artist, how everything, you know, sort of came about, because obviously I was super excited for the exposure I would get on the show. And then, you know, we got hit kind of with this huge curveball that nobody could have saw coming. So I feel it's been very interesting to me in a way of kind of testing my ability as an artist to pivot. And, you know, as other doors have closed, like events and things like that, you know, to see what new doors have opened for me as an artist and take, you know, each and every opportunity. And I'm definitely learning a lot about, you know, the virtual world and the role of art in the virtual world. And I think it's, you know, it's hard times, but it's also, I feel some new ideas are being born during times, especially for artists. And I think that we can all benefit from it in a way. But so I've been working on my art and kind of figuring out, you know, this new virtual world and my role in it as an artist as we go through these tough times. So
yeah, that's so cool. I mean, it's so interesting to hear. I've heard, you know, similar versions of that, you know, from a lot of different artists, and I think that's what's so valuable, you know, is the rebirth, if you will, or the rediscovery of different art forms and different talents that what you might have had or you want to try new. So and Lego is one of those. I want to segue you all. Jessica, I know you're in your friend's house, so you don't have your cool backdrop of. I feel like the telltale sign of a Lego master are anything from a container store. You know what I mean? We see all your beautiful.
None. All of my plastic bricks are stored in metal containers.
Oh, fancy! I like that. That looks nice.
It's weird, but yeah.
Samuel, that looks like almost like one of those old school library. You know what I mean?
But like they're used for like machine parts, so they're all like metal trays. And they have separators so I can sort by size and stuff like that inside of them. And they will last me forever. They won't crack and fall apart. Like, but I store all my plastic in them. It's very weird.
Obviously all of you were big into Lego beforehand, or, you know, big into art beforehand. And so, you know, it's an obvious answer that because of that is why you got on the show. But I'm more interested in specifically, you know, how you were reached out to, you know, and what ultimately led to your casting on the show. Because, you know, there's Lego masters all over the world. Yay! Bye, Timothy. Bye, Timothy.
Bye, Timmy.
Dramatic exit.
Bye, Timmy. I was just about to get to you too, Tyler and Amy. But Tyler, you can speak for yourself. Obviously, I want to hear a little bit, and then we've got fan questions, a ton of fan questions coming in from all the folks watching. So I want to definitely get to as many of those as possible. But first, I'd just love to hear from each of you of, you know, how the show approached you and sort of, you know, how ultimately you were cast in this season. Which again, Lego Masters around the world, you know, why, but whittled down to I guess it was how many was it to start? 12? Was it 12
10
groups?
teams.
10 teams of 2. Crazy, 20 people. Tyler, tell us a little bit about your Lego history and then sort of how it led to the show.
Yeah, so I've been building since I was 2 years old, so it's a huge part of my life. And I just ended up getting contacted by actually, I first heard about the show from just friends that are like, you got to apply for this. You got to apply for this. You and your buddy Sean, y'all need to go do this together. So it's kind of like, we'll see. Then once casting Scout started reaching out, then it was kind of like, okay, I'll at least pursue this. And reached out to my buddy to see if he was going to do it. He had a new job at the time that it just didn't work out for him. And I didn't really want to leave my wife for potentially 7 weeks. Like, hey, well, she can apply too. And there was kind of a funny moment where I was, you know, she knew I had been talking to the casting people, and I told her like, hey, they want you to apply. And
well, we were sitting down for dinner, and he tells me this crazy thing, and I'm like, That's a good joke. Yes, that it was the real thing for sure.
Yeah, so
that's so cool. That's so awesome. And Amy, I just want to, I know you know this, but just for the fans watching at home, whenever you need to leave this, do not feel stressed about staying in here. We've already been graced with Timothy's presence, and it's so lovely to see you. And again, congratulations, but feel free to pop in and out. It's not distracting at all. So we appreciate you popping in. Mark and Boone, obviously friends, at least that's what we got from the show. If it's a fake thing that you just put on, if you just put it on for the show, let us know now. Spoil it now for us. But
yeah, we never met each other at all. At all.
Oh no. So
that's sad. A lie.
Yeah, I'm kidding. No, so Boone was down at San Diego Comic-Con.
A convention in San Diego.
Yeah, you might have heard of this Comic-Con in San Diego. Yeah, keep going.
That's why I always say it's just like a sentence. And he heard about this Lego thing and then goes outside and immediately like calls me, and I was like in the middle of moving, and I'm like, yeah, all right, that sounds good. And so we applied. No, we waited to apply together or put like our, whatever you have to do in like application or whatever. And then in the meantime, they started reaching out to us like through social media and stuff. And we're like, oh, we're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it. And then it just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was like, it took me, when I was in San Diego,
sure.
I called Mark and he's like, yeah, let's do this. And I said, okay, well, my wife and kids were flying down to San Diego, and because I had my car down there, and so we did a family road trip back up, and it took us about a week to get back home from San Diego. And I told Mark, I was like, all right, I've got a week I'm going to spend with my family to get back home to Portland. and during that time, we've got to start collecting pictures and old videos and stuff that we could submit. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time in my car with my wife in the next week, so I have to breach the conversation of how is it going to be possible for me to do this thing and be away for 2 months. And it worked. It went fine, and she was supportive. And so, but then by the time Mark and I, even sort of got around to filling out the application, we had both been contacted through Instagram by casting sort of producers. And so once we talked with them, they were like, yeah, okay, all you have to do now is submit your application. And then we were in the process. So
that's so awesome. And how early had you started building together as a group of friends?
We'd been building together for maybe like 3 years before we applied for Lego Masters. Does that seem about right? I think we'd met about 4 years before we started applying.
Yeah, we met before we even met each other. We didn't know it, but we met years ago.
We kept seeing each other at Lego stores, and we would kind of talk, and we would kind of help each other search for the stuff we were looking for. And then we saw each other in the Lego aisle at Walmart one time, and it's like we kind of recognized each other, but we weren't quite sure. And then it was at our local Lego fan convention that we finally kind of connected up and started building together.
It's a beautiful nerd romance. You know what I mean? That's why that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's the collectors passing each other and then glancing in each other's eye. That's so cool. Yeah. Sam and Jessica, the exact opposite story in terms of your connection. The only duo on the show out of all of the 10, duos that had never worked with each other, didn't know each other. I'd love to hear a little bit about sort of your individual coming together and then how that kind of played out on the show. I'm sure the show over dramatized it. You know what I mean? The early parts, but I'd love to hear it a little bit. Yeah.
I was building since I was a little kid like Tyler, and I loved it. And as soon as they started casting, somebody sent me an email saying you should apply for this. And I'm like, okay, and cool. I found a friend who wanted to apply, and it fell through, and I found somebody else, and they go, we like you, but we don't like your partner. And wow. So they asked if I would pair up with somebody. We actually met at casting, like we were there, and it was weird. it was a crazy experience, you know, like working with somebody for the first time, you know, like ever in your life. Yeah. It's a hard thing. Like especially when there's so much stress and pressure of like what can happen. Like this, you're having a job interview and one day you have to go home if you're fired. Like if you have a bad day at work, it's different. You know, you'll last the next day. It was stressful, but we learned to work together. We became an awesome team, and I'm amazed at what we accomplished. It was amazing.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Jessica, yeah, similar reactions?
Yeah, I mean, so I got a phone call. Like I was leaving the gym and I got a phone call and they were like, "Hi, this is Fox or Lego." I forget. They're like, "Want you to apply for this show." And I just thought it was so bizarre because I didn't know about this show or anything. I'm like, what? Like, who is this? You know? But I believe them and I didn't hang up because they said, "We saw your Lego Lincoln. It's an art piece I did of Abraham Lincoln." So I knew that they saw it or it had something to do with that. Like, "We saw your Lego Lincoln. We saw your artwork. We love it. We want you to apply for the show." But I was so like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't know there was a show. I'm a full-time professional artist and Lego is one of my media. And I did not know about this show. So I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. You know, send me the information and take a look. They're like, "We really love your artwork. We think you should apply." So that's kind of how I found out. It was literally just a cold call on like 2:00 on an afternoon out of the sky. So once I started learning about it, you know, it was a lot of interviews and stuff like that. And started learning, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is something I want to do. This sounds really cool. I'm very competitive. I love competitions and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, and it's a competition show, then yes, because I live for that kind of stuff. I'm very competitive. So it was just kind of happened so sudden, like, "Hi, artist, we want you to do this TV show. And by the way, if you want to you have to do X, Y, and Z and apply. And then if you get picked, you have to do X, Y," like all this stuff. So it happened so fast for me. But I was like, I don't have a partner. They're like, "Well, just still apply, you know, and we'll see what happens." So I had met Samuel at casting, and that's kind of how we met. And you know, Samuel's an artist and I'm an artist, and we both do think outside the box. We have definitely
we were always on the same page with ideas. Always on the same page with ideas. We were rocking that far.
I even remember casting when we had to build together. I don't know if we're allowed to say the idea, but I told Sam this idea. I'm like, "Let's do this." Like, it was this totally bizarre thing. And he was like, yeah,
let's go for it. Yeah. Like we were always on the same page for ideas. We never thought about that. Like we were on the same page, and you know, like, and I'm not saying we were amazing. We were amazing.
Yeah. Well, and it's just, I mean, it's a shout out to the casting directors of the show, because my gosh, and it's really a credit to you all as people, but they found such awesome human beings, and the six of you. But then, I mean, gosh, think of the other duos that were on the show. I think that's what ultimately really drew people in. Sure, we love Lego. Sure, we love competition shows, but there's a bunch of those out there. What really made the show special was the relationships of everyone. You know what I mean? And even your all's relationship to the other couples and duos, you know what I mean? Everyone had their own unique story, their own unique personality, their own unique type. So many different types of people were represented on the show, and I think that's really what made it stand out. And again, thank you all for being a part of it, because we all fell in love with all of you. It was so hard to root. You couldn't, and that's why it was so tearful. I think each week as someone got eliminated, we all cried along with you. We're like, no, not them. Oh, so beautiful. I want to get to the competition aspect. Let's get to some fan questions, because Jessica, you mentioned loving competing and being a big competitor. But this question comes from Victoria Jepson Curtis, who's watching. What was the most, coming in from just being a Lego builder, a Lego master, and now coming into this competition, this very produced TV show, what was the question is, was the most surprising thing about competing, or like the competition aspect or the television production aspect of it for you all? And we can, it doesn't have to go in any particular order. Anyone who feels like they've got something can go for it. But was there a particular thing that stood out to you in terms of the behind the scenes? Go for it.
Well, for me personally, I'm very competitive. I love to win. I played sports all throughout high school. Before my art career, I was the executive director and CEO of a company. I like to win. I'm very competitive. So I thought I was going to go in there and really want to take people out. Like, yeah, let's take them out Lego. And, Lego Masters was very special because it really did strike a special chord in me, because when I quit my career to be a full-time professional artist, it was very hard for me. And I remember in the beginning having that fear that I think all artists and actors face of not really making it. Yeah. And when we were on the show, I was now amongst, unlike any competition I've ever done in my life, I was amongst all these creatives, these creative people. And, and we were all tired and all working so hard. And as I watched, as I advanced, I had to unfortunately watch somebody else's dreams come to an end.
Oh, it was so terrible. Really, it's so terrible.
It really struck a special chord in me that really made me really emotional and sympathetic and empathetic towards that. Because as artists, we really want to see people do their best, or I know I do. And I didn't think I would react that way until I was there and got to know everyone, the creatives. I genuinely felt sorry every time somebody went home, which, as you could see, but that was very genuine. And that's because I feel like all of us as artists, creatives, and actors, we try so hard and we work so hard. So just to see somebody who's in the same boat as you, not quite make the bar, it was very emotional for me. And I was very empathetic toward the other cast members. So that was something I did not expect, whatsoever. I did not expect to react that way. Wow.
Yeah, Boone, you started to say something.
I was just going to say the clock, man. The clock on Lego Masters is what separates Lego Masters, the competition, from every other experience any of us have had in the Lego fan community. Because, you can go to conventions and you can participate in activities, and they might give you an hour that you have to build within this hour, and then you have to set your bricks down.
Sure.
But that giant red clock just ticking down, and you just know oh my gosh, everyone here is trying to do more than they can do in that amount of time. And then sometimes sometimes the clock would disappear and we'd be like, how much time is left? But that's what I always say is the biggest difference between anything I'd experienced before and Lego Masters. That clock.
And people at home don't understand time at all. This picture took 40 hours of work, and you're 40 hours, and they're we have 13 hours. And I'm and they want it big. They want it bigger than this. I'm oh gosh, that is crazy. It's people at home do not understand how much time is, how much even sets you buy in the store. Some of them can take 8 to 10 hours to put together, and you're that's a set following instructions. We're just we're creating it as we go along. It's really crazy. The clock is crazy.
I remember also just feeling really bad for you all because I was oh my gosh, 14. What was the final challenge? Was close to 18
24 hours.
Yeah, it was 24. Yeah. And was that a straight, again, we know TV where we're not trying to be they didn't take breaks to make sure that they could film this bit or that bit. But I'd love to hear, Mark, you're shaking your head. Tell us about the clock. Was it a real clock for you all in terms?
Yeah. We went 24 hours. We didn't go to the bathroom. We didn't eat.
Crazy.
No, I'm kidding. No. It's TV. The clock didn't stop as far as the clock is real.
Right.
The clock was real. The clock was real.
When the clock stopped, we stopped.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, you think about there are people cameramen, lighting, audio. They all work for a living. They're there when we're there, and they have rules how long they can work. So I mean, we weren't there for 24 hours straight. Although that would be kind of cool if we were, but
no, it would not.
Well, and we understand. I mean, and we understand that. The point is, it still was the amount of time that you had to complete the build was 24 hours. Yeah. But obviously breaks. But I don't know. They did a good job with the like wearing the same clothes, so it seemed like you guys were there the whole time.
That's a shocking thing we learned about being on television. That's one thing.
If you watch really closely in Star Wars, I actually wear 2 different shirts on that episode.
Oh, you ruined it.
Wardrobe messed up and put Boone in 2 different shirts for the same day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that lady was so stressed out. I felt really bad, but I had to convince myself that it wasn't my fault. We are all brain dead, right? Like, there are people whose responsibility that is, because by that time in the competition, it was just like, wake up, go do as, be 120% on while
always on.
And when we're not at our build tables, we're like,
exactly.
Oh my gosh. Tyler, any big thing like in terms of the competitive side of things that stuck out to you as like being interesting or different than what you expected going into it?
Yeah, I mean, the LEGO community is a very kind and, very welcoming community.
Sure.
I don't necessarily know what my expectations were for a competition show, but competition shows usually have a little more headbutting and animosity teams. So I guess I was expecting maybe a little more of a mix, but it was, I guess I could say, surprising that everybody, like, we're all friends, and we all, like, as soon as like the clock is done and we're all like, oh, okay, I can take a breath, we're all like going to see what everybody else has built before they shoo us out of the building, because we're all creative people. I think Jessica said we've got all these other creative people, and having us all together creating stuff, we're excited to see what everybody else is making. So I loved that aspect, that we could all be friends, and when somebody's having a hard time, people are encouraging one another and being like, hey, you guys got this, keep going. So I loved that aspect of the show, that we were all there for each other.
Me too.
Yeah, and again, you definitely saw it. I like how the show tried to they built in some tension. I remember specifically Tyler and Amy with the like, the other team was doing the baby, and that was like the big thing. It was like, but you could feel it deep down, and you could see it in your eyes. Like, you all had love for each other. And at the end of the day, it was just like, it was about, everyone celebrating Lego, you know what I mean? And art. And you can definitely feel that. At the end, we still have to pick winners and losers, because that's what the show's about. But again, I said it before, I think it was the love of the characters and your love of the medium, and also the people there, that ultimately made for such a compelling show. So we appreciate you being there for that. Jason Phillips, this is coming from a few fans out there. Jason Phillips, Elise Cuss, they're both asking, alternatively, you can answer either side. What was the hardest challenge you felt like on the show? Or what was the your favorite challenge? Hardest or favorite challenge on the show from each of you? Let's start with Tyler and Amy. Do you have a fave or what you felt like was the most difficult?
My favorite challenge was the Space Smash challenge, which was episode 2. I love sci-fi stuff, so that was a given. But just the fact that we're creating something to then be ultimately decreated and destroyed in the end, I just thought that was a really cool dynamic. And trying to tell a story through that process was, I loved it. It was just fun.
I'd say the hardest challenge for us was the Mega City Challenge, as neither of us has much experience in building buildings. Yeah. And it's not our favorite thing to do, because we love characters and expression. So how do you bring that to a building and really do something unique?
Yeah, it was hard to get like into it and excited about a building for us.
You can really see the dynamic of talent, because Mark and Boone clearly love to do buildings too. They had a very diverse talent group. These are like the guys who are the masters of architecture. And then you had somebody who is completely super talented as well, that doesn't like buildings. I thought that was so interesting, the different talent.
Let's put googly eyes on the building.
Yeah. I
was going to say, Amy and Tyler, clearly characters are your thing. You know what I mean? And that's where you really thrive, where we saw your work really thrive was the carrot monster was probably my favorite. But yeah, then we see down there below the awesome. That was such a cool week when they were like, we're going to destroy all of your things that you made. So awesome. And then the bridge, obviously destruction was also fanfare. Mark and Boone, a favorite, most challenging challenge, but also a favorite challenge for both of you? Oh,
my favorite was Mega City, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Build a giant building, and we got off to like a rocky start. And then we pulled it together, and then built like kind of like a tribute to Portland, and that was fun. Like we tried to kick a lot back to like the Pacific Northwest.
Not the best.
Yeah, we did.
So good. It's so good.
This isn't the best picture. You got to look at the vertical. Go online and check it out. But yeah, Pops is the eateries. Oh man, so awesome. The food trucks. The food trucks.
Yeah, for me, like I love the twist too. Like we got ours into the gallery, and then we got a twist, and we took it, and then we completely we took our original idea. And we're like, okay, what's attacking our building? And like we're like, we started with like we're gonna have big hamburgers, hot dogs, pizzas attacking, and then I think Brickmaster Amy or Jamie was like, no, you need one focal. Like something attacking. So we're like hot dogs. We're gonna make hot dogs attack, and we made these like hot dog monsters.
Yeah.
And it was just like that to me was like we built this awesome thing, and then there's a twist, and we just had fun. Like it was like two grown men like we're gonna build hot dog monsters attack every hour right now. Like. And our biggest like discussion is like, does the lightning look good, or does the hot dog
the hamburgers
fun? So like, if that's, I would relive that day any day. Like that was like, yeah.
Awesome.
I loved the challenge where every challenge with Mark was a blast. But I thought it was really awesome in Good versus Evil when we got to team up with Sam and Jessica.
Yeah.
Because
we just had so much fun on that challenge.
Right there. Yeah.
I think one of the most challenging ones was the storybook. Because for the first part of the challenge, we were all trying to build the same thing, and it was like until that time you could kind of differentiate yourself by having a different idea.
Sure.
And it wasn't but for that
it was
one,
a storytelling challenge.
We're all trying to build the gymnastic horse. We're all trying to build the book chicken. We're all trying to interpret what is a taker waker and what is it supposed to look like. And I found that limiting enough that we personally, and I think Mark did a great job, but I personally had some difficulty gaining the sort of creative momentum at the beginning of the challenge.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say mine. That was my favorite challenge because it was a storytelling challenge and a character building challenge and a world building. I loved it. And then the weirdest things, like who would ever think of an elephant with candy cane legs riding a golden sleigh? I would have never built that in my life if someone just didn't say you have to build this. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I loved that challenge so much. It was my favorite one.
Yeah, I think the hardest challenge for our team, like given how our situation was so different than everyone else, was the first one, because I didn't know. Sam didn't know what I could do, what all my strengths were, and I didn't know what Sam could do. So
we didn't know each other's language even. We didn't know each other's language of like what we called pieces or how things fit. Like it was stressful, but we overcame that. It was awesome.
Yeah. So for me, the first one, because I'm like, okay, now we have to. I'm very like quantified and very analytical. Yeah, so Samuel didn't know this about me yet. So I am like keeping track of everything. I am like timing, saying, okay, what can Samuel do in an hour? What is this person's strengths? I had like grids, like in my hotel room grids. Okay, this. And then I would figure out, okay, then I can do like this other portion or what we had to do. So that was the learning curve, was episode 1. And 2, when I walked out, I thought like, oh, it's a creative show. We're going to get to do like whatever we want. And then they were like giving us challenges and like, by the way, your first challenge has to have moving parts. Neither of us are experts at motors. I was like, oh, this is going to be a hard show. Like we're screwed. You know, I was like, that's episode like, 1. This is 1. I thought that was going to be 10 used motors. So I'm like, in panic mode, like, I'm competitive, so it was good. So I'm like, we're gonna stay, you know. So that was the hardest one for us. But yeah, I'm, you know, to Samuel's point, we were able to like overcome those obstacles, and we're very blessed. We made it to episode 3, which was the cut in half, because that was an art challenge. We're both artists.
Yeah,
and I think
sculptural.
And everyone kind of thought we sucked before that. And I was like, here, this is our chance, so people know why we're actually on the show. And I'm like, we both agreed we have to bring it. And then boom, even the judges were like, well, that came out of nowhere. Where did that come from? So it was our chance to prove like, listen, we're really talented. We just have a learning curve here. Like, and that was the piece, I think, that showed the audience, oh, okay, like, you know, these two are really talented. They can make really amazing things. And everyone, like, aside from the peacock, I actually probably get more compliments on that mermaid than anything else Samuel and I built on the show. Like, everyone still remembers that mermaid. And we didn't even win that challenge. Flynn and Richard had with their clock, which that clock was amazing.
Oh,
that was
so
our
beautiful.
like chance to come back, but their clock was so amazing. But people remember that mermaid.
Well, and every team, my gosh, all 10 teams like had amazing work. That's why it was so crazy to see people go week after week, because you're like, no, but they had their amazing week also, you know what I mean? And it was so cool just to watch. And just seeing your all's reactions now and realizing that it was the same reactions we were watching on the show is what's making this super cool. And I know for me as a nerd, but then also the fans, you know what I mean? That and again, I think the show did a great job of just capturing you all as your human selves. Obviously, things are produced, things are cut, things are edited, you know what I mean? But you're the same people that we fell in love with over the course of however many weeks it was. I was
really pleased with that. And I've gotten that feedback a lot of times. Like, very close friends of mine will say, you know, Boone, I just got to see you being you on Lego Masters on television, you know, and I think that's a really special thing, you know, that we got to be a part of. And I know that was true to varying degrees for different people, but you know, for those of us that I think had a chance to really show our true selves, it was a wonderful experience.
Agreed.
Well, I think, it's different experience for everyone. I think, like, for me, everyone said the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, that's her. Like, because I think they were expecting it to be fake or something like that. Like, no, that's her. And I feel like lucky because I'm somebody who definitely thrives under pressure. I like things that are challenging. I like things that are hard. So I feel like the audience actually got to see me at my best on top of getting to see me, because I'm very competitive by nature, and I am the type of person that thrives under pressure. And there was a lot of pressure on that show. This. So I'm like, more pressure. Like, so I got lucky that I perform well under pressure. But yeah, everyone, to Boone's point, everyone's saying the same thing. They're like, oh, like, they didn't make you do this or that. You're just like walking around there doing things. I'm like, yeah. I mean, but I know everyone, you know, might have a different opinion, but I agree with Boone on that one.
No, I agree.
I think fans of the show totally agree. It was a very well produced show in the sense of like seeing you all as the human beings that you are and not forcing you to be things that you aren't. Obviously, there's edits, there's cuts, there's Will Arnett doing his thing. You know what I mean? But it's such a joy to have him there and the Brickmasters. But to see you all as your your own selves was the joy of the show. I want to there's some awesome Lego is all about family, right? It's about passing on the generations, and we're seeing it happen live in front of us right now. This is an awesome question from Josh Wilburn. Also, April Laura Tyler asked a very similar question. But Josh says, my daughter and I are huge Lego fans. We're surrounded by Lego. We're building a Lego studio of our own. What would you say is the most important thing to have in a Lego studio? And then April follows up and says, just about organizing the room. You know, how long does it take you to really, does it take you years? How long does it take you to set up your Lego studio? So some tips, I know, Sam's laughing. Some tips for the Lego families at home that want to create what you've created here, but for their families.
Most important thing to have in your Lego studio is Lego. But
ding, ding.
Nice.
But I mean, it depends on how you want to build stuff. You know,
Sure,
you might need a large build space. You might need a small build space. You might want to sort by color. You might want to sort by piece. Sorting by color takes a lot less time than sorting by piece, but a lot of people even do a combination, sorting by piece and color.
Nice.
Lego is street hobbies. Oh, sorry.
Said start building. Tyler, what'd you say? Start building what?
Start building and find out how you work, how you want to organize your parts.
Sure. That's awesome.
Good lighting too, so that you can actually see what colors are what.
That's a good point. You don't think about that.
It's true. It's
true.
Especially with, like, when you're using all the colors, you're like, is that gray or is it green? I can't tell. You know, light is a good thing.
I have collected all of these different bins and drawers over years, and I've spent as little money on them as possible. So actually many of these stacks of drawers that you see, I like literally picked up off the side of the road when someone decided to throw them out.
Don't need it.
And now I feel like I'm kind of paying for that because I've got so many different kinds of storage in this space that it's hard to like things aren't really interchangeable. It's hard to move things around. It's hard for me to remember now like exactly where I put things. So I would say if people are starting from scratch, if you're able to, if you want to collect a huge collection and build yourself a library and you're able to invest in, something more like what I think maybe Tyler has there, like a little bit more like uniformity across your organization, I would appreciate that, because now I feel like I need to sort of start over. But that's not necessary, right? And I know Mark and I both use. You can kind of see them. There's behind this thing. There's a stack of those. Oh, they're right here. These are 99 cents, and they stack. And a ton of my collection is sorted into these, 99-cent plastic shoe boxes with these white lids. So it can be done. Like, it can be done really affordably. But if you're setting out to like do something big and you want it really organized, I'd encourage you to think about can you find something that is a little more uniform. But that's just from my experience, because I haven't really set myself up for organizational success, but it is what it is.
Well, and yeah, I mean, like you said, the series both shows this. You're all showing it right now that it doesn't matter, right? Like what way you approach, what I mean? Whatever your style is, in the community, like it's however you're best organized and however you want to create is sort of the right answer. I know that seems like
a big table.
Yeah. And a big table, yeah.
As many big surfaces as you can give yourself, I think, are the better.
Awesome. Any final tips? We're like we've been talking. I could talk about Lego for hours, but we only have under an hour. We've got a few questions left. I want to do a fun couple rapid fire questions from the crowd. So first off, from AEO Ballet wants to know favorite guest star from the show. We'll bounce around. We had Mayim Bialik, Terry Crews, Nicole Byer, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller. Terry Crews. All right.
Terry Crews.
Mayim Bialik.
She was great too. I like Terry Crews.
Mark Boone. I didn't hear yours.
Terry Crews.
Oh, nice. That's so cool. All right, from Matthew Builds Bricks. This is a nerdy Lego question. So get ready. After having endless Lego bricks from the brick pit, what brick do you always wish you had more of? What brick do you always wish you had more of?
On the show or
yeah, maybe, or maybe just now. Yeah.
What mixel joints? The mixel joints and the ball joints are the things that on the show everybody wished there were more of. We you know, they did a very good job of continuing to try to keep the brick pits stocked, but that was one thing where like we would each, like all the teams would just go like grab handfuls of the ball joints, you know, to make articulated characters or things that need to move or whatever. And we always kind of wish that like there was more of those.
Yeah,
I agree. Sure. The ball joints. Yeah. Definitely. I remember telling Samuel one challenge, I'm like, you run over there and you grab every single ball. Because there's only 5 of them. There was only like 5 of them.
Was there any sabotage moments? I guess you could technically
no, it wasn't even like that. It was just like if you didn't get the only 5 ball joint pieces that were on there, you were screwed because there isn't any more of them. So
it was the opposite of that though. If somebody said, "Oh, I need this piece," whoever had them would say, "If you need it, I really don't." I grabbed it thinking I might use it. Yeah. We were giving pieces away. We traded colors. Yeah. It was the best.
That's awesome.
We were like we worked together. We all wanted to see amazing things get built. We wanted to see you know, like if you can make it better, take it. Like in the first challenge, we gave all of our trees to the bearded builders. We're like, we don't need these trees. Take them. So
and we gave for the bridge challenge, poor Flynn and Richard went last, so they had like 0 technic pieces they needed. Yeah. And Samuel and I, we weren't sure if we were going to use them all. So Flynn kept coming over, and I kept giving him some of our technic bricks for their bridge because there was no pieces left by the time. Because that challenge, whoever was last got to pick last, and they had nothing there. And we had some extra, so we kept giving them to Flynn and Richard for their bridge. So it wasn't even like that, like, ooh, they're going to hoard all the pieces, because that's like, I don't know, immature. Plus, people probably, if anyone did that, people would probably go over and take them from you anyway. So we all wanted to see everybody do their best. So we were always, and the cut in half challenge, Flynn and Richard were next to Samuel and I, and they actually had some pieces we needed, and vice versa. And we were swapping pieces with them the entire time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very friendly in that way.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Last question, and just a quick reminder to fans. Thank you all for submitting your questions. This is so cool that we have so many folks that are Lego fans, Lego Masters the Show fans, all tuning in on 3 different streams. Whether you're watching this live or watching it later in the week, remember, you can purchase individual time with each one of these individually, these amazing folks individually, as their duo pairs. Obviously, Tyler and Amy, I feel like just they're always going to be there together. So you get Tyler and Amy. That's a guarantee. I'm going to guarantee that right now. So definitely take advantage of that at wizardworldvirtual.com. Those are on sale throughout the week, in addition to autographs, video recorded messages. So if you can, take advantage of those. We appreciate you being here. Last question. This is from Elise Cuss watching. You're retiring from Lego building. All right. I'm embellishing their question a little bit, but it's your final build. What is your dream build? I know everyone's thought about this, but if you had all the money in the world, every piece you could possibly imagine, and it's your final piece before you're just done with Lego, what's everyone's dream build? Let's start with Tyler and Amy.
Don't start with Tyler and Amy. I haven't. Oh,
you haven't thought about it yet. All right, who's got it? Yeah, whoever wants to.
I got one.
All right, go for it.
Go Sam. Go Sam.
Oh. I want to make a life-size Medusa bust with like giant snakes twirling through, like, so it's at least as big as my head and snakes coming out and all these, and actually have them on motors so they move a little bit. I want to do it.
Awesome. That's awesome. Boone, go for it.
I want to build, before I die, a walk-through experience that is completely built out of Lego. And in my mind, it's like, you know, a spaceship, you know, control center where you can walk around and, you know, flick switches and different things come on screens and turn knobs and sounds happen, but it's all built out of Lego, and you can be fully immersed in it. That's my dream.
I want to help you on that.
Okay, let's do it.
That is
I'm into it.
No, that's mine. My dream would be to help Boone build this experience.
Oh, giving your dream to someone else is beautiful. That's beautiful.
Know that we made something together.
Yay!
Love you, buddy.
Always got your back.
Awesome. Samuel's coming too, so you got a 3. We got 3.
He's got a beard. That's fine.
Yeah, he's got a beard. That's so awesome. Jessica, I'll open this up one for you, because we know that you're an artist of many different mediums. So you can pick Lego, or you can just pick art. You know, something in general that is like an art desire of yours, or a piece that you would always want to work on, is your ultimate dream.
I literally have so many that I literally can't put my thumb on one, but I like to go big. So it would be something huge. I'd like to do something I like to do things that are educational or scientific.
Cool.
But one of these series I'm working on with my Lego art is some of the world's most impactful women. So I'd love to maybe do like a monument or something of, maybe it's Amelia Earhart or Katherine Johnson or something like that, that has that historical component for it, but still meaningful and has an artistic meaning behind it. Probably something like that. Though that walk-in space station does sound amazing. I like things that are cool like that. But as an artist, I think I like to make things that are big that other people want to go and see it. So I always think scale, like something big and interesting and has a meaning behind it. If I had unlimited bricks, because that would obviously cost millions of dollars for me to create something very, very large. But so many ideas, so many different things.
Yeah, and that was part of the condition. You have unlimited bricks, so it's unlimited bricks is all. So don't worry. Tyler and Amy?
I feel like I've already created my final magnum opus.
Yay.
Of Lego Masquerades with our Treasure of the Griffin. I love that. If anything, I'd want to do something similar, but larger scale and even better with more time. I would love to create this really magical, gorgeous world with really elaborate characters.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, this might be a little bit of a departure from my affinity for characters, but I'm fascinated by like these rolling ball sculptures, kind of like the great ball contraptions that you see at Lego conventions. I think it would be really fascinating to have like a wall size, like it's flat kind of against the wall, but like this wall rolling ball sculpture.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool. Like almost like an art installation piece. Like you'd see it in like a hobby of a.
I want to come help with that one too.
Yeah, me too. I'll come help with that.
I will come.
Want help?
And if there's switches that people can flick, it's basically my idea. So I'll just come help you do yours.
Hey, you never know. If we all want to do this, if all the finalists want to do this, maybe somebody will sponsor it. We can make that space station.
I would do it.
That would be great.
I'm just saying, anybody who's watching, I know I'm going to speak for myself, but then I'm going to speak for the hundreds of fans watching around the world. We would pay money to show up to all of these ideas in a museum, in an installation. So yes, please make this happen. This is so cool. We hope to see you back. We continue to follow all these amazing artists on their Instagrams or social medias. We'll be posting those in the chat because all the stuff that you're creating is amazing. Again, shout out to all of your families and special shout out to young Timothy for joining us. Thank you again, Amy and Tyler, for bringing him out here. Such a treat, and we wish you the best with your little Lego family there. I just want to say again, shout out, thank you so much. Lego is such a place that so many people bond, you know what I mean, of all different types, you know what I mean, different ages, different races, it's something that brings everybody together, and that's super important these days. Is a medium that really just brings everyone together. There's lovers of it all around the world, and you brought some magic into our homes for a few weeks, and we appreciate you being here today, giving us a quick little chat about the world of Lego. So thank you to all of you, to all the fans watching out there. One more big round of applause and round of emojis for all of these amazing folks. Let's hear it one more time for Tyler and Amy Clites, Mark Cruickshank and Boone Langston, and Sam Hatmaker and Jessica Ragzy Ewud. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.